All right, well, welcome to the Viking Press Pass. I'm Matthew Nickel, and joining me today from the softball team, junior Marley Behm. So, Marley, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Absolutely. Well, um, the Vikings are off to an awesome 6-0 start. I mean, let's just start with that. I mean, I was going back to the last time the Vikings have started so well, and it was really 2015 that they started 10-0. Um, this is your third year here at Augie now. I mean, what feels different about this team compared to maybe the last couple of years that's just lending to so much success maybe early on?
I would say we kind of built better team chemistry during the fall. We had a lot more team bonding events, and we got to know each other. Like the different classes, like juniors really or have gotten to know the underclassmen better. The seniors have gotten to know the underclassmen better, and they've gotten to know us better. I feel like in previous years we didn't have that kind of team chemistry going into it. So I feel like that was a big thing that's started us off with this 6-0 lead. Another thing, probably just everyone just keeps pushing each other, building off each other's success, and we also wanted to see each other succeed. So that's kind of helped us as well.
I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, team chemistry is huge.
hmm
Now, has there been maybe a moment or game from this early stretch that you think really showcases what this Vikings, softball team is truly capable of? Is there a moment or game that kind of sticks out to you?
We had a game when we were in Peoria for the Angel Mount Mary tournament that we were down by one, I think in the seventh inning or something, and we had a freshman step up to the plate and have a walk off to put us in the lead at the end. And that was just, I feel like, was a great moment for us, kind of showing what we can do because our energy has been up the whole game. Even when we were down, we were energy up in the dugout, high fives all around. And I feel like even if we're down, we're still up. So
Now you're in center field. Um, so you have vision of everything that's going on, out there on the field. Um, thinking about even just from that perspective, how are the girls moving? How are they covering everything? Like, just when you think about just the movement, on a softball field, defensively, the communication, what are some things that are kind of maybe sticking out, to you as well as you kind of just sit back and see, kind of what's going on and what's unfolding kind of in front of you there?
yeah. So one big thing that we kind of like to talk about is have everyone's ranges touch. So my ranges will go to both of my right field and left fielders, as well as the middle infielders, and then their ranges are gonna meet everyone else's kind of around them. Same with the corners, pitcher catcher and everything. That has been pretty beneficial for us, and just kind of knowing what the range is of the person next to you and how if they're gonna be call the ball, take charge, or if they're more kind of hesitant, knowing that is really well. So I feel like just kind of learning to know what everyone's doing has benefited us, and just the communication we have kind of different communication from infield outfield. So for calling a ball, the infield calls a different signal. So they'll say ball, and then outfield's gonna say mine. So it's just that has increased it because if we're both saying ball, infield and outfield, it's oh, who's gonna get it? Is that the
Mm.
outfielder calling the ball? Is that the infielder calling the ball? No one knows what's really going on. So that's helped establish that communication on the field, and it's good to see everyone interact with each other and just know everyone's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, it's funny. You get two people calling ball. Next thing you know, nobody catches it. So, and it just
No
drops
one, no one
and
has the ball. Yeah,
and a run scores and somebody gets on base
yeah,
and then it's just all downhill. Um,
chaos.
Now, last week's doubleheader, at home versus Co. Now, game one, finished the game early on a sac fly RBI that got the Vikings, to a 11-3, win. Game two had to go an extra inning, but Code tied it there, at the bottom of the seventh. But you girls came back and put up six in the top of the eighth. So, so you responded really well. Like, what were your kind of general thoughts on the home opener?
Just both games in general.
Just both games in general, yeah.
Yeah, just again, like our energy was up. We were ready. After Steven's point, we knew we had some potential to like keep going through these teams, and we knew that Co had a great success last year, and they were ranked pretty high and went pretty far into the tournaments. So we were prepared for them, and I think we're just our main thing was just again the energy, just to keep that up, and it was great to see even if we were behind, put up 6 runs. Like doesn't matter. So it was great to have a great home opener. Just a sweep right off the bat was awesome.
Well, and it's nice too when you give up that kind of final run. I mean, that can feel a little like deflating. But
Mhm.
a lot of times it's really about those situations that define you, um, than they do kind of make you, type of thing. Um, so yeah, I think it was awesome to certainly see that, and I think how probably gritty this team is early on, um,
Mhm.
because it's not going to get any easier, and especially when you've got
No.
someone like Illinois Wesleyan, within the CCIW that you're going to have to compete with. So um, now thinking a little bit about that, like I was thinking a little bit about team dynamics as I was prepping for this conversation. It's like the team has been incredibly strong at the plate this season, leading the CCIW in batting average, slugging percentage, and on base percentage, while being one of the lowest teams that strike out. Um, what do you think has been just the key to the Vikings, like just offensive success so far, this year at the plate?
We've kind of been emphasizing like stay aggressive, but also stay controlled. Early in the count, if you see a pitch, it's going to probably be the best pitch you see. Try to get in front of the pitcher, um, get up early on the pitcher fast, and like, but also don't be swinging at some garbage. I feel like has helped us. We've also been like thinking about like situations. So getting up to bat, do I need to bunt? Do I need to hit the ball right field behind the runner? Like, what is my role right now at in this at bat at the plate? And that's been very beneficial for us.
Um, Now, the Vikings have also shown, great pitching too. On the other side, I mean, the second lowest ERA in the conference. And, as a player, like, how does it feel to have just such a reliable pitching staff, backing up that offensive performance?
It's a relief for sure. Like in the past, we had great pitching, and we have great pitching this year. Lauren Coster has been putting out amazing shows. We have some freshmen as well, um, some sophomores. Like everyone's just doing a great job all around. And I think they just like put in the hard work over the summer. But it's just a relief in the field, Like we're all ready for a ball if it comes to us, but we also have great trust in our pitchers to make strikeouts and make ground balls and pop flies. So it's it's like there's goodness in the defense and the offense. Like we have trust in both of them, which is very very big for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have your glove with you by chance?
I do. I have both of them. I didn't know which one you wanted to see.
Well, let's look at what's your one from this year? Because I think you had like it was like had some Carolina blue on it and a few other things. Can you kind of
Yeah.
walk us through? Because I think it's super cool. I think it's unique what the softball team does. The incentive, as well, some of the milestones you have to hit, to get that. But then you get to customize it, which I think is awesome. So
Mhm.
yeah, just kind of
Yeah.
walk us through your glove a little bit.
Okay. So we did the Carolina blue around here, and then we have on this side we have my nickname on the team, which is Beans. And I accidentally put the wrong year. So we made them in 2000 or 2024, but it's okay. That was also a great fall season. That started us off, so I guess that's fine. And then on this side, I have "Let's ride," which is just a good saying I like to say to be like, "Let's chill, let's go as hard as we can, balls to walls." Um, and then our Viking head, and then I think my number's in the middle. Yeah, 6
Yep.
in the middle. So yeah,
So why'd you go with the Carolina blue?
I don't. I feel, for some reason, I feel like there's like this huge thing right now, and everyone's doing it with their uniforms. Like people who aren't even have a Carolina blue are like wearing it and like pins and like stuff like that. And I was just like, I want to be different. I want to have a different glove to stick out. I was gonna do like baby pink, but this blue's more me, and I'm like obsessed with blue. So
I like
it was
it.
a good pick.
Now your
Yeah.
other one, your other glove, you had what, a Colorado flag on it too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Show that one off and kind of talk to that one a little bit.
This one I is a little dirty, but I was really liked the tans and just like kind of different colors with that. And everyone thought that this glove was crazy. So I don't know what they were thinking about the other one, but just like big Colorado girl, love Colorado. I feel like it's just one of my personality traits. Had to put on the glove for sure. And then this one just has my name on it with my number as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's probably, probably more my tempo. Like I like the tan, kind of beige, type look as well. That's pretty
Mhm.
slick. Um,
Yeah.
Now you said, the "Let's ride," is the favorite saying now. Is that because that's like a Broncos reference? Is like because I think
No.
about it's like I was like, "Can you give me your best, Russell Wilson, like, come on, Broncos country, let's ride." It's like that was like the worst social media thing they ever did. So I wasn't sure if there's a correlation there or not.
Um, I honestly do not get really care about the Broncos. My parents, my family, are big Broncos fans. But I honestly don't know where I got that from. Someone might have been saying it over the summer, and I was like, "That's great." It's just like kind of stuck with me. So it might have been from maybe it was my parents yelling "Let's ride" when they're watching the Broncos games, but I don't know. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's funny when I was like, if you were gonna be a big Broncos fan, I was gonna have you like, okay, give me your best Russell Wilson take, but I won't put you through that. Um, Now, you know, growing up in Colorado, you're from Lakewood. You went to Green Mountain High School. So how did you find your way to Augustana?
Um, Honestly, I wasn't really looking, for it. I didn't really know what Augustana was. And then, John Furlong, the softball, baseball, kind of everything recruiter, he gave me a few calls. He was out at some tournaments during the summer. He saw me play a few times, and he kind of like put me on the radar for the coaches here. Um, then I came and saw the school, and I was just like, this is like a good place to be. And yeah, that's kinda how that came to be, but, I was looking at some few other schools that just, like, didn't have my major, I didn't really feel, like, home, like, connection kinda there, didn't feel like I, like, could see myself going there.
Mhm.
Another thing I kinda looked at was, like, a school that if I didn't play softball, would I still be happy there? So that this place I found was good for that too.
Did you attend any of the like Augustana events they would hold in like Denver occasionally? When I lived out there, I would sometimes go to them as just, alumni, and they would have like, recruits. And did you ever go to anything that they would hold out there?
And I didn't even know they did that.
Well, maybe they don't anymore. I don't know. Maybe they don't anymore. But it's funny you say John Furlong. It's like I used to, as soon as you said that, so he was my secondary coach my freshman year when I played football at Augie. And but I also helped him with recruiting and worked in his office. And it's like I don't know
Mhm.
how many like envelopes I stuffed and trifolded with potential recruits. And so it's just like I like got that taste of like licking a manila envelope back in my mouth after
Yeah,
you said that. I was like,
yeah,
took me back to a
yeah.
different time.
Yeah, I
Um,
also was a student worker the last couple of years, helping him with recruition, so I can piggyback off that, feel that too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
super good guy, super good guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Now, going from, here in Davenport, I think we're at like 580 foot of elevation to 5,500 in Lakewood in Colorado. It's like, have you started to notice, the change in elevation hit you when you go back at home at all?
Honestly, I have not. Like, I've had a lot of people who have come back with me, like my friends back to Colorado, and they like have experienced a little bit of altitude sickness, but I haven't really. I feel like just being there for so long and just being like living there for so long, it just like hasn't affected me. It's just like kind of brings my homeostasis back to normal. So, yeah.
Anytime people came out and visited me when I was out there, I typically on Sunday would like to take him out to Red Rocks, and and like climb the stairs because I used to go out and run them
Mhm.
and work out up the stairs and stuff all the time. But just to go up and just to watch people get so winded walking the stairs at Red
Yeah.
Rocks, their first time out there, that's kind of that was like my barometer, of kind of where
Mhm.
you're at. So um, now, now when you came here, what I noticed, after being out there, especially for a few years, when I came back and would play in like local like flag football tournaments, some of that stuff, I hardly ever got winded. Now, did you kind of ever feel that effect? Here when you first came here, like you didn't seem like you necessarily ran out of breath, as early on.
Yeah, I did experience that. I had there was a girl who was from Colorado on our team who was 2 years older than me, and we would talk about that all the time about we would be running, what, 7 minutes for our warm up, and I wasn't, like, too bad, not feeling it, like, it's definitely, like, in the lungs too,
Mhm.
because more, like, air is going in there, but, in Colorado, when I went back for the summer, I could feel it for sure. So I guess, like, I did feel a little bit, but the running part. But here, yeah, it was I feel like it was a lot easier to breathe.
It's like those when people well, I mean, you're a kinesiology major, so it's like, thinking about those altitude masks, that people wear and, when they train and they run and kind of simulate some of that stuff. Um, yeah, it hits, people so different. I remember my brother came
Yeah.
out and he wanted to go do a 14er. So I was like, all right, we'll go do Grays and Tories. It's like the easiest one there is, and he couldn't get up past 11,000 feet, because it was hitting him so bad. And I'm like, well, here's a aspirin. Let's chill out. We'll get you back down. Um, so never actually got to finish it. Um,
Yeah.
so it hits people way different.
Yeah. It's
Now
experience though.
it is, it is.
Yeah,
Now in high school, it looks like, did you throw discus and shot and also run the 100 meter as well?
I did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
So walk me through your track and field days.
Oh my goodness. Um, well, I wanted originally to start running track just to, like, gain some speed and, be in the off season, like, have some exercise in the off season, and then I got into the throwing. One of my really good friends, Morgan, she just like she was just built for this kind of stuff, and she just like loved she's like, "Come on, Marley, like we have to do this. It's gonna be so fun. Like if I can do it, you can do it." I'm like, dude, no way my little arms can do this. But I did okay in discus. I wasn't very good at shot. Didn't get too far in shot, but discus was okay. But I tried, and it was a good experience to do that. But I really liked the running part. It was good to like do like sprint medleys. I really liked doing that, but yeah, definitely a different kind of sport than what I'm used to.
Now, take, something like the, 100 meter, and, how you would train for that. Was there anything that you picked up from that have tried to kind of bring over that's applicable to softball at all?
Actually, yes. One thing they really taught was like a really like large, impactful, powerful first step when you're starting your run, which has I've been trying to like transfer over from getting out of the box. Another thing was like with your hands, like not having like straight hands or like hands and fists, just like you're holding a potato chip, like kind of more relaxed. Helps just like more blood flow, more like oxygen to the muscles and stuff. So like faster movement. Um, And then another thing was just like running on the toes, uh, just quicker movement of the feet as well. So all those things like I learned in track has kind of like moved over to softball and it's helped me a little bit.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you kind of answered this question a little bit. Um, but I was thinking about, as a Colorado native, what sport which sport event do you think was better? Do you think it was like the 2016 Super Bowl, win with Peyton Manning, the 2023, NBA championship with the Nuggets, or the 2022 Stanley Cup with the Avalanche?
Stanley Cup 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're huge hockey fans. Yeah. And we have season tickets and everything, but I feel like I watched them the most since us having tickets and stuff. And just seeing like knowing all the players was really cool to see, and like just atmosphere of being at an Abs game is like amazing. And I remember me and my friends were watching it in Ball Arena on the TV because they weren't playing there, but we were all watching it, jumping up and down, was going crazy, just seeing like the atmosphere of everyone, like
Mm.
so excited for the win. And then yeah, and then we just after that, like kind of Colorado just spiked with all our sports. Everyone was winning, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, you know, I had only gone to one Avalanche game. It was the prior year. It was 20. Trying to think here, what year was it? Was it 2013, I believe? Because the ESPN Denver radio station had they called it closest to the pin contest, but it was who could guess the AFC Championship game score, and I hit it. So I
Nice.
won. Yeah, and random. So I won Avalanche Maple Leafs tickets. So
Mm,
me and now my wife went to the game. And it was super cool. We were like 10th row. And what's it, the Pepsi Center that they play in.
mhm.
And yeah, I mean, it was a good time, but I mean, those tickets are ridiculously expensive. I think they were like
Yeah,
two something, a piece.
yeah, yeah. They're even getting after they won. Like they're even getting more expensive. Nosebleeds are like at least I feel like up to close to hundreds now, which is crazy. But yeah,
That's nuts, but they love them.
yeah.
There's
Well,
a
the
lot of
Avalanche
cool history.
brought you and your wife together, so
It did. It did. Um, Now I remember, I mean, I was there and I moved there in 2007. So just shortly after I graduated from Augie. And you probably won't remember this one as much, but I'm sure your parents would. But it was the Rockies Rocktober, and I lived downtown when
mm,
it was like um, they won like 21 of 22 games. It was like the Padres, they swept the Phillies, they swept the Diamondbacks. Then they hosted the World Series, obviously. I just remember like my entire office, shut down. We tried to get tickets. Nobody could ever get tickets. Like our servers were going out at work. And that was probably one of the craziest times I remember, being, out there as well. Um, so I can only imagine you know, after the Stanley Cup, and I'd been there for the first Broncos win, but man, the Avalanche one would have been that had to have been pretty crazy. Now, did you
yeah,
go to did you get a chance to go to oh uh, the parade at all?
yeah. We did go to the parade. Um, Denver goes crazy for all that stuff. I can't imagine how it was after the Rockies World Series, but the parade it's awesome. They're like all the players just like on fire trucks and stuff, and I feel like the whole state is there, just filled. It's awesome to like see everyone. And everyone just hangs out after, is there before. It's like a whole day thing. Yeah, the parades are so fun. Yeah, good time.
Now switching back a little bit to your education, I mean, the biology and kinesiology, like what interested you kind of in that degree path?
Well, my dad is, he was in the military, he's a veteran, and he had some, like, kind of problems while he was in service, which he's still experiencing now, and he's always just like I've always, like, liked wanted to be a doctor, thought that was really cool, but then once I got older and realized these effects that the military had on him, health-wise, he's always like, "Oh, like, well, you watch Grey's Anatomy, like, you what is this? What's wrong with me?" I'm like, "Dad, I don't know yet." Still
It's a
working
show.
on that. Yeah, not an expert, but, um, ever since I started Augie, I was just, interested in the kinesiology program, mainly just, like, kinda to help my dad and, like, some of the other, like, health factors my family has seen. And he's every year, every day, he's like, "Well, like, right? You know." I was like, "Dad, I've taken anatomy. I can tell you where things are. I don't know how if someone's what's wrong with you yet." But every year, he's, like, getting closer and closer. So but,
Love it.
yeah, and then I wanna be I'm a pre-PA, so, um, step down for a doctor, but also, like, still pretty knowledgeable. So that kinda brought me, like, the kinesiology biology part.
I mean, the response should be, "Well, Dad, I'm only on season 3 of House and, season 2 of, Doogie Howser, so we don't get to that till season 5." Um, that's funny. Um,
Yeah.
now I was going through, kind of part of, my prep for this is to go through different social medias and stuff, and I saw, your, on one of your, like, Augie softball player cards, your role model was on one was your dad, the other one was your parents. Talk to me a little bit about, why they've been, such great role models for you. Um, and maybe share a little bit about that.
Yeah. My parents have gone through a lot in their lives, and they have definitely been around the block a few times, learned a few things, and they've kind of just like transferred that over to me. And they just like will always know like if I'm in a bad situation, I know that I can always go to them for it, and I'm not gonna like feel like punished or like obligated not to say something. So they've been like really supportive in kind of in that department and also just like academics and sports. Like my dad's been my coach. He's a great baseball, softball coach since he was like, or since I was like in T-ball. He actually coached our high school team like halfway. I think he became the coach like when I was a sophomore or a junior, which just built our connection more. And I kind of got to see like the other side of coaching, which was nice to see like, "Oh, why does a coach do this?" So then like I got to build that connection like him as my dad and like see like what he goes through as coaching, which kind of helped with softball, but also it's like my dad going through that. But overall, you probably heard this before. It's just super supportive and always there when I need them, and just like very solid people to go to.
It's funny you had mentioned that because I was going through just like Colorado softball, and I saw, you know, you were on like what the Colorado Diamonds, the Colorado Sapphires, like the travel ball teams, I think is what they were, and then I went to Max Preps, and I was looking it up, and I saw, oh, Mitchell Beam. And I was like, okay, that's got to be your dad. That's I'm making a strong assumption there. So that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, do they get to come back and visit often, or?
They try. My dad, he like travels a lot for his job, and my mom is pretty strict for where she works as well. So they've been like trying to like make time like at different times they're able to come. But I think the more like in the spring, they find at least 2 or 3 times to come. But I told them senior year, you got to come for all the senior things, so they better be out here like every other weekend. But they try to come a lot, which is good. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's cool. I mean, there's, I know, on the baseball team, there's a lot of baseball players from Colorado, and it's like, um, trying to get, you know, parents that try to travel, a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, you're all over, especially, um, the amount of games and, softball and baseball plays, and you're traveling to Florida, and, you're traveling to Tennessee, and you're playing up and down the Midwest here. Like, that's a lot to, a lot to take in. And, but luckily with the rise of, YouTube and, schools broadcasting their games, or at least streaming the games, worst case scenario, at least, allows them, and, to do some of that stuff and be a little connected. So,
Yeah.
it's always a ton of fun.
Yeah, they always
Now,
wish we have a few more games by Colorado, but they're all over here on the east side, but yeah. They're like, "Come on, just one Utah, Arizona." I'm like, "Oh." Not
you
yet.
know, tell Coach Nelson's like, hey, who's out
Yeah.
there that's a good club that we need to go play. I mean, I don't know. Does Mines have a team at all?
Yeah, they do. They're D1, which would be a good competition to see, but there's not a lot of D3s. I don't think there's like one D3 in Colorado, and then there's like a couple JUCOs, and the rest are like D1s. So,
Yeah, go
but
play
hey, if
Mines.
they
Let's
want to play
go.
us, we'll play them. We'll play
Heck yeah.
them.
Heck yeah. Heck
Yeah,
yeah. Um, I mean, the baseball team just went and played Iowa, so
I know that's awesome.
go out
Yeah,
and play Mines. So,
yeah, let's do it.
um,
I'll get coach on
well, and you know what? I tell you what, if they do it, I will commit to going out. I'll make the sacrifice. Me and my
it. You have
family will
to.
go to Colorado. I'll broadcast the
Fine,
game. That's
fine.
cool. That's fine. Twist my arm.
All right.
Um, and yeah, my friend actually, they run uh, the Hyatt House there in Lakewood too. So it's like that's typically
Oh,
where I
okay.
stay, right in like the Colorado Mills Mall kind of area.
Mm, yeah.
So um, well, the other thing, as I was kind of prepping for this interview, I saw on Facebook your profile photo was it Stockholm, Sweden, I believe? Is that where you're at?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, tell
Yeah,
me a little
that's
bit
right.
about that trip.
Yeah, so, our high school, like, does, like, a bunch of different trips, and, like, my little brother's going to Peru, I would say, or it's Japan. Those are different places, but he's going to one of those. But, we were planning to go to, like, Scandinavian countries, with, like, a bunch of kids from school, and then, like, their parents can come, but it's, like, with also a few of the teachers. And, we're planning on going that I think it was the year of COVID or the year after COVID, something like that, but it got pushed back. So we ended up going the summer of us graduating, which was still good to be with everyone. But it was awesome. We went to Sweden, we went to Norway, Denmark, um, Estonia, Finland, and yeah, Norway. Did I say that? Yeah. But it was a great trip. I had a great time.
I'd love to do like just a whole Scandinavian like couple weeks, just travel all through that
Hmm.
area and check everything out. And that's yeah, that looks like it'd be a pretty cool place. Like, what were some of like your favorite things though about being, over in like Sweden or Norway or Finland? Like, what are some things that, kind of stuck out to you?
When we were in Sweden when we were in Denmark, we saw, like, everyone's just outside all the time. It was even, like we had some days it was pretty rainy, some days it was pretty cold, some days it was hot, and everyone was always outside, like, they did not care about the weather, which I thought was pretty cool, and just, like, always by, like, the water, always people on the streets, like, performing, doing stuff like that. Like, I feel like they're, like, really, like, into their culture and, like to be around each other, which I thought was pretty cool. Also just seeing, like, all the old architecture and, like, monuments and stuff like that, and, like, being we got to go on, like, a boat and, like, go down the rivers and, get tours like that, like bus tours. So that was also cool. But just, like, how they all, like, interact with each other, I thought was different than, like, kinda how Americans do.
Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Um,
Yeah.
Now, I saw recently too on the X account, the softball team, had wished you a happy birthday, and it was on March 10th. And I remember on that day, I was actually telling my son, I was like, "Hey, it's Mario Day." for March 10th. And so, growing up, it's like, did you ever have like a favorite themed like birthday party? Um,
Mm, not really.
no?
No. No. I'm not a big birthday person. We don't yeah. Our family doesn't, like, really, like we celebrate birthdays, but it's not, like we never really did, like, parties. It was more just, like, get the people together. Let's go to we would go to hibachi. That was, like, my thing. Hibachi every year. So, I'll say that hibachi is my favorite
Hibachi?
birthday theme. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
where would you go in Colorado?
I think there's, like, one in, like, Westminster or Broomfield. I don't really remember what they're called, but
Okay.
there's probably
What
one,
was
like, down in
that?
Park Meadows too.
I wonder if that was the one that was up off of like 120th or 144th. There was one kind of up that way. I had lived up there like in the Orchard area for a little bit. They had one up there, but it was a pretty good place. I just can't remember the name of it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
um
Okay.
but now I also saw, Chris Stapleton was one of your favorite artists, and so I was curious, like, what's been one of your, favorite concerts you ever attended? Was it a Chris Stapleton one? Was it, a different artist? I mean, especially being in Colorado, like, there's a ton of folks that come out there, whether you're downtown, whether it's Red Rocks, like the Wells Fargo Center, and there's a couple different
Mhm.
places. What's probably your favorite concert you ever attended?
Well, I love, like, all type of music, country, kinda like the EDM, pop, like, kind of more hin or indie, like, hippie stuff. But I would say definitely the country concerts have been my favorite. Chris Stapleton, my dad and I were front row in the pit. That was probably my favorite. Close second would be and that was at Ball Arena, so the Pepsi Center. My close second would be John Party at Red Rocks. I went with my mom. It's just like the atmosphere at Red Rocks is just amazing. I would go to any if anyone was playing, I would go. It does not matter, but definitely Red Rocks, John Party, and then Chris Stapleton at the Pepsi Center.
Yeah, those are, you know,
Yeah.
that I remember Florence and the Machine came there. I had no idea who they were, had never listened to a song, but everybody was talking about it. And my friend had bought um, Florence and the Machine tickets for their spouse for their birthday at Red Rocks, and then their spouse had bought Florence and the Machine tickets at I think it's the Wells Fargo. It's a place downtown off of like Spear and like right off of Spear and Wynkoop, kind of that area. Um,
Okay.
and bought tickets to Florence and the Machine as well. And they obviously they weren't talking. It was supposed to be a surprise. Well, one was like on a Friday night, one was on a Saturday, and so she's like, "Hey, I'm trying to get rid of these Florence and the Machine tickets. Do you want them?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll buy them." So I spent like $100 for each ticket was like $110, and it was probably one of the coolest concerts I ever went to. Had zero idea who they were, but probably had one of the most fun. Um, but yeah, you think about like Red Rocks. That is my friend's always sending me videos of being out there. He loves like the EDM stuff. He loves DJs, and
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, you spend more
Yeah.
times at Red Rocks than I know. So cool though, so cool.
Yeah, well, Red Rocks is really cool because they, like, project the whoever's playing on the rocks on the sides of the stands, and then the lights just go crazy. Um, yeah, I graduated at Red Rocks, which is really cool for my high school to do. Um, so that's cool.
Yeah. Um, did um, did you ever do one of the Monday night like film on the rocks? Did you ever do those?
Yeah, I think we went and saw, like, White Chicks or, like, something like that, something funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The I thought those were pretty cool because they had
Mhm.
um they would typically have a band, like or a comedian or something, and then they would do like a Looney Tunes cartoon, and then they would do the movie. And um,
Yeah.
did you ever go to now I'm like going down memory lane here. Um, they always brought up the like Colorado Symphony and they would play the movie, like Back to the Future or Star Wars, but then the symphony would actually play the music to it, and then they would have actors
Oh,
and that would kind of play out the scene there as well, and they would coordinate it all. Did you ever go to like one of those events?
I have not, but I have not gone on one of those, but I didn't even, I forgot that they did that. You just rejogged my memory. That's definitely should be on the bucket list. But yeah, that's in Denver.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they
that
do it
sounds
at Red
awesome.
Rocks. It's the Colorado Symphony presents music by John Williams, I think is what they did it every year.
Oh,
But and then I remember one other time they did they one of the main movies was Back to the Future, and I ended up parking at top, and in that circle lane up top there was a DeLorean, that was parked there, with its doors open and all that
mhm,
stuff, and
mhm.
um, just such a cool venue.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, my
now,
question for you is,
yeah,
have you ever went to yoga on the rocks?
I have not. I would go run. I would go run on Sundays there though pretty frequently. Like, typically what I would do is I would go run stairs, go do all that stuff, do box jumps on like the side planters, on not all of
Mhm,
them. The ones you get down there like 6 foot, but I could do some of the higher ones. And then I would go ride my mountain bike on Lair the Bear,
mhm.
down in trying to think what's the little town kind of down right behind there. But it's like Lair the Bear Park.
Morrison?
Morrison, yes, thank you.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but no, never. I've never been a big yoga person. Um, so I've done it a few times, but it was really more like just stretching. Is what I'll say it was.
Yeah, it's hard.
But pretty cool stuff. Now thinking about like what for someone that's going out to Colorado, like what are like maybe like your favorite restaurants or places to go, places to eat? Like, what are 4 or 5 things you would say you need to go do this for anybody who's watching this that is maybe going out to Colorado?
Well, right next to where I live, there's this little place called Coyote Table. It's just like small family owned from some people from our high school, like parents and just like community members. Great pizza, great like those like fun appetizers that are like burrata and like gumbo, and just have like then they have like gelato. Just great cute little place. There's only about like probably like 6 or 8 tables in there, but that's one of my family's favorite places to eat. And you can pick up and you can I don't think they deliver, but you can pick up and you can go and eat in there. It's a great atmosphere. Probably there. If you go into that little town of Morrison, there's the Cow Eatery, which is like an breakfast lunch place. I think they close after lunch, but also great atmosphere in there. Pretty small, pretty like old, kind of older. Right next to Red Rocks. Then you can go walk around after that. A lot of strips down in that Morrison area. They have some good restaurants there, but those two definitely I would recommend.
Now, what's your take on snooze?
Snooze. I haven't gone to snooze in a while since we used to go to school out in Denver. So we would drive from like we lived by the airport kind of, and we would drive out to Denver, and we would like my parents would like treat us to snooze in the morning. But I haven't been there in a really long time. It was good from what I remember, but yeah,
Yeah, it's like they're everywhere. I was just out there
yeah,
in the spring. There, I went to one in Arvada, and had breakfast with a buddy of mine, and but I was like, man, they only had one right downtown off of like 20th and I think Pennsylvania, not too far from
yeah.
the Rocky Stadium, and but
Mhm.
now they're all over. Um, so what about like favorite ice cream?
Ice cream, I would say McGill's, which is also near my hometown. They have just a bunch of flavors that are like really like there's like superhero and like um that's the only one I can remember right now. But they're all like crazy different flavors and stuff, and it's really cute in there. And I think there's might be another one that's like in Morrison. So it's like there's one in Morrison and then there's one like 15 minutes kind of down in Lakewood area. But definitely best ice cream. Comparable to Whitey's, I would say.
Okay. McGill's,
Yeah.
huh? I hadn't heard of them.
Yeah.
I remember, I think a lot of people know of like Little Tin Man, kind of up in like the
Oh, yeah.
in that area.
Little Man ice cream.
Yep, up in like the Highlands,
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
That's always a good spot. But I remember my friend was out from it was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and he's like, "Man, I really have a hankering for ice cream." I'm like, "Dude, I have no idea where this and he's at in my area." And we were off of 144th Street, so we were way up north in Broomfield, in like the Orchard Park area. And I'm like, I have no idea. And he ended up finding up in Louisville, they had Sweet Cow, I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
and that is pretty awesome. 'Cause I know they make all
Mhm.
their own, but they also do like,
Yeah.
you know, adult beverage type, type ones as well. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's cool. Anytime I try to go back out there, I try to find a new or different spot, but God, it's like, I don't go out there for a year or two, and it's like everything is completely
Things
changed.
change.
So,
Yeah. There's
um,
also a Ben& and Jerry's on Pearl Street
okay.
up in Boulder.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
yes. Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did know that. They and the sushi place up there is really good too. I was just up there. Was it May? I think last time I was back there. For my friend's wedding, but well, lastly, just the last one here is, your why did you choose the triple fire emoji? Like, why is that your favorite emoji?
I'm not a big emoji person, and that's the only one I use, so I was like, "I'll just put it 3 times." Um, 'Cause I was like, "I don't wanna be like have some randoms on there." I don't know. Fire, let's ride, fire, they kinda give the same vibe, I guess.
There we go. There we go. Well,
Yeah,
that's a great spot to wrap things up. So, well, Marley, good luck this weekend. I know you and the team are traveling down to Tennessee. You got the doubleheader versus Cumberland, and then I think you're off for a little bit, and you guys go to Florida. I think after that, right? So,
yeah,
so definitely, continued, good luck this season. Y'all are playing awesome, so continue that up. But again, I appreciate you, spending some time to connect with me here today.
yeah, thanks for having me, it was awesome. Love talking to you.
Absolutely.